Welcome back to the English Daily Podcast. Today we are talking about the hidden power of everyday routines. A routine is something you do regularly, often in the same order or at the same time. Some people think routines are boring, but routines can actually make life easier, calmer, and more productive. If you are learning English, routines can even help you study more consistently. So Jake, when you hear the word routine, do you think of something positive or negative?
Honestly, I think many people have mixed feelings. On one hand, a routine can feel safe and organized. On the other hand, it can sound repetitive. Repetitive means happening again and again in the same way. But I think routines are powerful because they reduce decision fatigue. That phrase is very useful. Decision fatigue means the mental tiredness that comes from making too many choices. If you already know what you will do in the morning, after work, or before bed, your brain has fewer small decisions to make.
That is such an important point. People often save their energy for big decisions, like career choices or financial planning, but they forget how many little decisions fill a normal day. What should I eat? When should I study? Should I exercise now or later? A good routine answers many of those questions in advance. In advance means before something happens. So instead of using energy to decide, you use energy to act. That small change can lead to better habits and better results.
Yes, and routines also create structure. Structure means an organized system or pattern. For English learners, structure is very helpful because language learning works best with repetition over time. For example, studying for 15 minutes every day is often better than studying for 3 hours once a week. The daily habit feels small, but it is sustainable. Sustainable means something you can continue for a long time without too much stress. That is the hidden power. Small actions do not look dramatic, but they build real progress.
Let's talk about morning routines first, because many listeners are curious about them. Some people imagine a perfect morning with yoga, journaling, a healthy breakfast, and an hour of study before sunrise. That sounds impressive, but it is not realistic for everyone. Realistic means practical and possible in real life. A useful routine should fit your actual schedule, not your fantasy schedule. Even a simple routine can work. For example, you wake up, drink water, review 10 English words, and listen to a short podcast while getting ready.
I agree. We should be careful not to make routines too ambitious. Ambitious means requiring a lot of effort or aiming for something big. If a routine is too ambitious, people usually quit after a few days. A better strategy is to make the routine easy at the beginning. This is where the expression "start small" becomes very important. If your goal is to read in English every day, start with 1 page. If your goal is exercise, start with 5 minutes. A tiny routine may seem unimportant, but it lowers resistance. Resistance here means the inner feeling that says, "I do not want to do this now."
That reminds me of another useful word, friction. Friction is anything that makes an action harder to begin. For example, if your English notebook is hidden in a drawer, that creates friction. If your running shoes are at the back of the closet, that creates friction too. But if your notebook is on your desk and your shoes are by the door, the action becomes easier. One practical tip is to prepare your environment. Environment does not only mean nature or the planet. It also means the space around you and the conditions that influence your behavior.
Exactly. Your environment can quietly guide your choices. If healthy food is visible, you are more likely to eat it. If your phone is next to your bed, you are more likely to scroll late at night. Scroll means to move through content on a phone screen. So routines are not only about discipline. Discipline means training yourself to do what is necessary. Discipline matters, of course, but design matters too. When you design your environment well, you do not have to fight yourself every minute.
I like that distinction between discipline and design. Let's connect this to evening routines, because the end of the day often affects the next morning. If you stay up too late, your morning routine becomes much harder. An evening routine can include simple steps like putting your phone away, preparing clothes for tomorrow, writing a short to-do list, and going to bed at a consistent time. Consistent means happening in the same way regularly. For language learners, evening can also be a nice time to review what you learned during the day.
And review is crucial for memory. Crucial means extremely important. When you review information, you strengthen it. Strengthen means to make something stronger. For example, if you learn the words routine, friction, and sustainable today, using them again tonight or tomorrow helps move them into long-term memory. A bedtime review does not need to be long. You can ask yourself 3 questions. What did I learn today? What do I still remember? What will I practice tomorrow? Those questions create reflection, and reflection helps learning become deeper.
There is also an emotional side to routines. People often think routines are only about efficiency, but routines can support mental health too. Efficiency means doing something well without wasting time or energy. When life feels chaotic, a simple routine can give you a sense of stability. Stability means a feeling of being steady and not out of control. For example, taking a short walk every evening, making tea before studying, or writing down 3 things you finished today can create calm. Those repeated actions can tell your mind, things are manageable.
That is especially true during stressful periods. Stressful means full of pressure or worry. During exams, job changes, or busy family situations, routines can act like anchors. An anchor is something that holds a boat in place, and in daily life it means something that keeps you steady. You may not control everything around you, but you can control a few repeated actions. Even one stable habit can be reassuring. Reassuring means making you feel less worried. It sends the message that not everything is uncertain.
Now, we should also say that routines need flexibility. Flexibility means the ability to change when necessary. A routine should support your life, not control it completely. If one day does not go as planned, that does not mean you failed. Many people think one missed day ruins the habit, but that is not true. A helpful rule is never miss twice if you can avoid it. Missing once is normal. Missing twice can start a new pattern. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is returning to the routine quickly.
That idea is great for motivation. Motivation is the desire to do something. People often wait to feel motivated before they act, but routines teach the opposite lesson. Action can come first, and motivation often follows. For example, if you tell yourself, I will study only for 5 minutes, you often continue longer once you begin. Beginning is the hardest part. This is why cues are useful. A cue is a signal that reminds you to start. Your morning coffee can be a cue for vocabulary review. Finishing dinner can be a cue for a 10-minute walk.
Let's give listeners a simple framework for building a routine. Step 1 is choose one goal, not 5. Maybe you want better sleep, better English, or more daily movement. Step 2 is make the action very small. Step 3 is attach it to something you already do, like breakfast or brushing your teeth. Attach means connect one thing to another. Step 4 is make it visible by leaving materials ready. Step 5 is track it for a week. Track means record and observe progress. These steps sound basic, but basic systems often work best.
I want to add one more tip. Celebrate small wins. A win is a success, even a small one. If you only notice huge achievements, daily progress will feel invisible. Invisible means impossible to see. But if you say, I practiced English for 10 minutes every day this week, that is real progress. You can mark it on a calendar, tell a friend, or simply pause and recognize it. Recognition matters because the brain likes rewards. When a habit feels rewarding, you are more likely to repeat it.
Here is a practical example for our listeners. Imagine you want an English learning routine but your schedule is busy. You could create a 15-minute routine like this. After breakfast, review 5 vocabulary words for 3 minutes. During your commute or walk, listen to English audio for 7 minutes. Before bed, say 2 sentences using the new words for 5 minutes. That is short, clear, and realistic. Over 1 month, those 15 minutes a day become many hours of exposure and practice. Exposure means regular contact with something, especially a language.
And the same logic works beyond language learning. If you want to read more, keep a book near your bed. If you want to save money, check your spending at the same time every week. If you want to move more, take a short walk after lunch every day. Routines are like quiet systems working in the background. They do not always feel exciting, but they shape your life little by little. That phrase little by little is useful in English because it means gradually, step by step, without sudden change.
Before we finish, let's recap the key points. Routines reduce decision fatigue, create structure, and make progress more sustainable. Small routines are often better than big unrealistic plans. Your environment can reduce friction and make good actions easier. Morning and evening routines can support learning, energy, and calm. Flexibility is important, so do not aim for perfection. If you miss one day, just begin again. And remember that repeated small actions can lead to meaningful change.
That's the hidden power of everyday routines. They may look ordinary, but they can improve focus, learning, health, and peace of mind. If this episode helped you, subscribe to the English Daily Podcast and share it with a friend who is learning English. You can also review today's vocabulary by listening again and noticing how we used each word in context. Thanks for spending time with us today, and we will see you in the next episode of the English Daily Podcast.